Tu sembles nerveux. Laisse-tu?
Ouais, je suis. Chapter 28. Anxious. I'm sitting in the sun on the beach in Nice, France, in October, alone. Out of the corner of my eye, I see my mother walking toward me, and she settles a few feet away without a word. I'm here visiting her and her partner of the last 2 years, a wealthy Frenchman.
Isn't Nice beautiful?
Yeah, very beautiful. A much better vibe than Paris. I should have known, since Philippe could have you out of Paris for weeks at a time. My mother's cheeks warm at the mention of her partner's name. I love seeing her like this, in bliss. I don't think I've ever seen her this happy. We're silent for several minutes listening to nature. I've been here for almost a month and I was feeling restless, anxious. I thought that with everything behind me and out in the open I would feel better, but I didn't. She stares at my face long enough to force me to look her way. Her gaze is loving as she says,
I'm your mama, and I see through you. Tell me what's wrong.
I hold her gaze and let out a slow exhale. It takes me a second to respond. I don't know, I'm anxious, I guess.
Fear? Do you not feel safe?
I shake my head. When I arrived, I told her what Slim revealed to me. All of it. My mama was my rock, and I'd hidden virtually nothing from her since my release from prison several years ago. I knew what I felt wasn't fear because I'd been very careful. I lived under an alias, and my mother was my sole beneficiary, owning all my businesses and homes. Some of my properties and businesses she had sold at my request, and I would start a new life somewhere eventually. When I didn't know, I just felt in limbo, like I was still stuck in that bedroom healing in Slim's home, except this time it wasn't physical. I'm safe. Slim has always been thorough. He'll alert us if there are any threats or concerns. I respected Slim's request and valued the lives around me enough not to touch the Garza family directly. I wasn't stupid, but Gabriel would eventually pay for the bullet in my back, just not the way I would have handled it in the past. She nods. We're quiet again for a few seconds before she says,
Are you anxious about Jada?
I visibly flinch at hearing her name, and before I can conceal it, my mother catches it. I shake my head. Nope.
You want to talk about what's next with her?
Nope. I answer immediately. She typically knew when to change the subject with me, and I hope she was gauging that I wasn't in the mood for this.
You're mad at her.
It's more of a statement than a question. I frown. No, Mama.
You saw something you didn't like.
I shake my head. I told her everything, but not the suspicion surrounding Rick and Jada. I like to think that was because while I could stomach talking about him, I couldn't stomach talking about her in any great detail. Mentioning her in passing was okay, but nothing more. I don't answer a question, which only confirms that I did see or hear something I didn't like, she then says.
Whatever it is, remember, you're a dead man, and she is, or was, a single woman.
I let out a humorless chuckle and look off toward the endless beach. The familiar dull burn returns to my chest. The same one that was there when Rick mentioned her name. I knew I had no right to be upset or feel any type of way if she'd moved on, but I can't help my feelings.
You know I'm very proud of how you handled Rick. I know it was hard for you. When you first got here and told me everything that happened between y'all, I was utterly speechless. It wasn't until this morning, when I was speaking with your aunt, that I remembered her husband lost his brother to that very illness Rick has. Someone gave him bad drugs. He went into psychosis and killed his kids, his wife, and himself. Thank God you got to him in time.
My aunt remarried while I was in prison. She lived out in Cali, and I'd only seen her twice since I'd been home. Never met her new husband.
Why didn't you go to Jada after you went to Rick?
Her mind had switched back over to Jada. I turned my gaze back to my mother and look at her like she's lost her mind. Why would I do that? She stares at me like the answer is obvious.
Because you love her and still want her.
I push harsh air out of my mouth. When has the universe ever cared about what someone wants or loves? I didn't want to be a felon and a killer, but I became one. I didn't want to kill Damon. But I had no choice. It was either his life or mine. Love didn't stop Rick from betraying me. Everything isn't so black and white. She nods.
You're scared.
I shake my head.
You're scared of her rejecting you after all this time. What does bearing your soul even look like?
Bearing my soul? I've done that. I told her I loved her twice before she boarded her flight and she still walked away. I told her I would always love and take care of her and she ghosted me. I told her for weeks, for months, that my heart was hers and nothing. She made her choice. Me coming back from the dead doesn't erase that.
She loves you.
Did she tell you that before or after I was dead? Silence. That's what I thought. Everyone loves the dead once they're gone.
Tell me what scares you.
She wasn't letting this go.
You think she'll be mad about us faking your death and her being kept out of the loop? Are you scared she won't leave the States to start a life with you? Did you see her with another man while you were surveilling her? Huh? What is it, baby?
I ponder over all her questions.
You've been used for other people's gain, and now you're scared she's going to use you too.
I sit with her words. Is that what's making me anxious?
I'm a woman. You may be jealous about another man, but you love her so much you can overlook that part. It's the fact she may do you like Damon and Rick did. The reason you're not at peace because you haven't walked through and closed every door yet. What is it?
It's everything. I finally say, what is it about me that always gets the short end in the end? She blinks several times, processing my response. No matter what I do, what I choose, I seem to choose wrong. I reflect on Slim saying I have no self-preservation. Was he right? Had I continually put myself in situations to get hurt or potentially die? Had I not slit Freddie's throat, would I have stayed an honor roll student? His death was a domino effect. I started working for Slim shortly after, and the rest was history. Did I work for Slim because I felt I owed him for disposing of Freddie's body? Looking back, in my 16-year-old brain, I think I did. I felt I owed him because no man outside of my father had ever looked out for me the way he had. I also felt he saved me from poverty, and in return, I felt the need to take care of everyone around me. I didn't want anyone I cared about to go without if I had it. At what point did I become someone with no self-preservation? Was it when I was so depressed and exhausted from staring at dark cement walls 23 hours a day that I decided this life wasn't worth living anymore? Have I truly healed from the trauma of prison? What line do you draw for the ones you love? My mother pulls me from my thoughts.
Don't beat yourself up about the decisions you made in life because they made you who you are today. Anything different and you might be dead or still in prison. We can't change the past, baby.
I take in her words.
I used to think all the time, what would life be like if your daddy never died? Would we still be together? I became a nurse to be better than my mother, but was I truly better? I stayed in the city when crime was at its highest because I didn't want to make the sacrifice to commute. I was horrible with money, and your dad was a habitual gambler, and look what happened. You know what scared me the most after you went to prison? You ultimately dying there, because would you really be there if I was a better mother? Oh, how much I used to cry and wonder what life would have looked like for you if I'd never dated Freddie, if I'd never raised you in an abusive environment.
She stares out at the water, her eyes fixed on something I can't see. In all the years that followed, we never once spoke Freddie's name to each other. Not until I laid it all out, every thread, every connection. Jada to Damon, Jada to Freddie. Even then, she let his name pass by like it was nothing, like it had never been said at all. She never asked about the sofa that disappeared or the rug that went with it. She didn't have to. She had always known. She was my mother. Some things between us didn't need to be spoken to be understood.
Loving, protecting, providing, giving, that's your love language. Damon came to you, and even though you verbally told him you wouldn't help him, you knew deep down you would, because that's who you are. You protect and provide without ever saying the words. Don't let Damon's and Rick's betrayals harden your heart.
We're both silent for the next few minutes as I sit with her words.
God is giving you another chance at life. You can be and do whatever you want, but choose yourself first. Love yourself first. Take all the time you need. Go do your eat, pray, love solo excursion around the world. Lord knows I did.
She laughed slightly at that.
In order to be the man you want to be for your family one day, you have to be confident that you're ready. Fear is normal, but don't let it keep you from loving again.
I don't respond. I just watch the waves.
Chapter 29, Coincidence. The grocery store on Christmas Eve is its own special kind of hell. I weave through carts and frantic last-minute shoppers with the singular focus of a woman on a mission. Cheese. Sharp cheddar Gruyere and the smoked Gouda Tasha had the nerve to text me about 45 minutes after I'd already left the house. You forgot the smoked Gouda, Jada. Like I was the one who volunteered to make this mac and cheese in the first place. I love Tasha, but that woman will talk you into doing something and then micromanage you from her couch like she's the executive producer of the kitchen. I tucked the last block under my arm and started toward the front of the store when I felt my phone vibrate against my back pocket. I shifted the cheese to one arm and pulled it out. I was expecting a "where are you" text from Tasha, but the screen showed a WhatsApp video call from Miss Lisa. I felt an instant, genuine smile stretch across my face. I swiped to answer, seeing her face damp with tears but glowing.
Oh, Jada.
My eyes went wide. I stopped walking right there in the middle of the aisle. The only reason my heart didn't drop straight to the floor was because of the smile stretched across her face, wide and completely overwhelmed. Miss Lisa? Are you okay?
Oh dear, thank you so much. How did you do it? How did you get a hold of that photograph?
A wave of relief and realization washed over me instantly. I sent her a Christmas gift a week ago, a painting by Gianni Fitz. Gianni was an up-and-coming artist, someone I'd gone to undergrad with back when she was just a girl with a sketchbook and a dream. Now she was on the verge of being a legend. I reached out to her not expecting a reply given how high her star had risen, but she remembered me. She remembered that I was one of the first few people to chip in for her supplies when she was struggling, and she'd given me a deal that felt like a blessing. The painting was of a photo I'd found, Miss Lisa holding Malik as a baby, with her mother sitting directly behind her. I found it in your son's study. Miss Lisa was still blinking back tears.
You don't understand. I haven't seen that photo in over 20 years. I don't have it. My sisters, no one has it. I took that picture in my mama's house, and she's been gone for nearly 20 years now.
She turned her camera around.
Look, I have Philippi prepping my wall to hang it up for me.
The 26 by 34 canvas was propped against the sofa. Even through the grainy video call, it was breathtaking. Gianni had captured the light in a way that made the memory feel alive. I knew why Miss Lisa hadn't seen it. Finding anything in Malik's study was like an archaeological dig, and he wasn't exactly the type to put his sentimentality on display. I could still see him in my mind, clear as day, leaning back in that leather chair. I think you misinterpreted that verse, Leek, I said, clutching a highlighter.
No, I didn't.
He'd fired back without looking up.
You need to read it again and get back to me.
I gawked at him. The ego on you.
You not seeing me when it comes to the Bible, Jay.
He'd smirked. You're probably right, I joked, pivoting toward the bookshelf. I forgot y'all come out of prison as either pastors or Muslims. He squinted, his typing hand pausing, and I saw his lips twitch. I smirked, but a second later, a balled-up piece of paper bounced off the side of my head.
Get out of my office.
He teased. Just as I reached for the book I wanted, Ida, A Sword Among Lions. A worn, tarnished photo fluttered out from between the pages. I picked it up, studying the two women and the baby. I walked over and held it out to him. Malik's eyes instantly softened.
Damn, I forgot I had this.
I stayed quiet, letting him have the moment. I was slowly learning that he usually kept his thoughts to himself, but he looked up at me like he'd read my mind.
It's my mother holding me. My grandmother is behind her.
He opened his desk drawer and tucked it inside, the wood clicking shut. It's a nice picture, even if it's faded, I said.
It was saved from a house fire years ago. I found it. I've been meaning to get it restored and converted to a bigger portrait for my mother. She doesn't even know I have it.
The shopper bumped into me with their cart, a sharp clack of plastic that snapped me back to the dairy aisle.
You look preoccupied, dear.
Miss Lisa said on the screen.
I didn't mean to interrupt your shopping. I just wanted to thank you. Call me back, okay?
I will. Oh, Miss Lisa. I called out before she could hang up. Be careful with the wrapping paper. There's an envelope I taped to the back of the portrait. It's from Malik. The change was instantaneous. Miss Lisa's eyes shifted, glazing over, and her entire face stiffened. The warmth drained out of her expression, replaced by something tight and unreadable.
Of course, dear, call me back.
The screen went dark. I stood there for a moment, holding my phone, the cheese still tucked under my arm, people moving around me like water around a stone. Did I say something wrong? I turned it over in my mind as I made my way to self-checkout. Miss Lisa and I had found our way into something neither of us had planned for. A monthly check-in that had quietly become a ritual in my life after she visited me in Malik's penthouse. In the last few months, it had grown to twice a month, easy conversations that usually ran long. She knew I had started journaling. I had told her myself. I told her I wanted one of my entries placed with him. The same way you leave flowers at a grave, I'd said. Something that was mine, meant for him, left in a place that held him. She hadn't objected. She told me so directly. So I had mailed the envelope with her gift, sealed and addressed to Malik in my own handwriting. Maybe I was reading into it. Maybe her expression had shifted for a reason that had nothing to do with me. Maybe she just needed a moment. I loaded my items onto the belt and told myself to let it go. I had mac and cheese to make. 2 days after Christmas, I woke up at 5 a.m. to the glow of the local news reporting a fatal accident. Mayor-elect Gabriel Garza and an unidentified man were dead. The footage showed the aftermath. Flashing lights, twisted metal, the kind of wreckage that makes your stomach turn even on a screen. A truck had plowed into the back of Garza's sports car. The driver had been apprehended. A Honduran national, they said. Worked for a courier company delivering medical supplies. No English. ICE had taken him into custody. He told authorities he must have fallen asleep at the wheel. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Damn, I thought, watching the wreckage on screen. He just won his election. Life is so short, it's terrifying. My phone rang. Tasha?
I'll be there in an hour. Are you and Ari ready?
We will be. She hung up, and I set the phone on the nightstand, glancing toward the hallway where I could hear Ari still deep in sleep. I got up, padded to her room to check on her, then went back to do one final pass through our carry-on bags. I had already checked them twice. I was about to check them a third time. Tokyo. A month ago, Miss Lisa had told me she wanted to give Ari and me a trip to Japan for the new year. I had spent the better part of 2 weeks trying to decline as gracefully as a person possibly could. It's too much, Miss Lisa, truly. I'm a homebody. I'm perfectly happy on my sofa with a glass of wine and a blanket, which was only partially true. The full truth was I had dreamed about Tokyo for years. New Year's in Japan was the kind of thing I'd saved to a Pinterest board I never showed anyone. But I had never traveled internationally without someone I knew on the other end. No family, no friends, just me and my daughter in a country where I didn't speak the language or know a single soul. Miss Lisa had worn me down with the patience of a woman who knew how to get people like me to concede. So now I was standing in my bedroom 2 days after Christmas, checking zippers and making sure Ari's melatonin was in the right pocket, preparing to take my daughter to Japan. I zipped the last bag, turned off the news, and went to wake my girl up. Whoever said you don't know what you've been missing until it arrives had clearly been to Tokyo. The jet lag was kicking my ass. I was on my third iced coffee by early evening and still felt like I was moving through wet concrete. But I didn't care. Not even a little. The food alone was worth the 11-hour flight, the architecture, the way the city moved, organized and alive at the same time. Nothing like anything I'd ever stood inside of before. Ari had pulled me through Disneyland with the energy of someone running on a fuel source not available to adults, and somehow I had kept up. Mostly. We had 30 minutes before the countdown. I got us both showered and changed into our pajamas with strict instructions. We watch the fireworks. Then we sleep, and I mean immediately, Ari. Then wrapped her in her coat and told her to pull her jeans on over her pajama bottoms. My phone rang as I was tying my own sneakers.
What's up, girl?
Tasha's voice made me laugh without meaning to. I could picture her exactly, probably on her couch with her feet up, waiting for midnight like a responsible person in her own time zone. Hey, girl.
Damn, you sound beat. You ain't used to the streets no more.
Girl. I took a deep breath and glanced at the time across the room. Ari has not slowed down once. Not once, Tasha. I don't know what she's running on.
That's called being six. You remember six?
Vaguely, and apparently I was less tired then. She laughed.
Listen, I know you'll be long gone by midnight my time, so let me say it now. Happy New Year, boo. Get some rest. Call me when you've slept.
We blew each other kisses and hung up. Ari, coat. Let's go, baby. The balcony door opened and the city spread itself out in front of us. I didn't move for a moment. I just stood there and let it be what it was. The view took my breath away. Miss Lisa had stayed here with Philippi and insisted I love it. I didn't even want to know the price per night. I just felt a deep, overwhelming gratitude. The fireworks began, and Ari made a sound beside me that I wanted to hold on to forever. Pure, uncomplicated joy. I looked down at my phone. Midnight in Tokyo. Still hours away from midnight anywhere else in the world. Miss Lisa, Tasha, everyone I loved in Guyana was still in yesterday. I didn't feel lonely exactly. That surprised me a little. This exact time last year, I had been curled in Malik's bed watching fireworks on television with the lights off. And now I was standing on a balcony in Japan with my daughter, overlaid with exhaustion and overwhelmed with something I was still learning to recognize as ordinary happiness. I heard Ari's feet on the sliding door behind me.
Mommy, mommy, mommy.
I turned at the urgency in her voice, already starting toward her. And then I stopped. I see him. I see Malik standing right there looking at me with that half smirk. His eyes softened the way they were in his study. I blinked, my breath catching in my throat, and he vanished. It wasn't him. It was just the memory or the way the light hit his mother's face.
Happy New Year.
Miss Lisa was standing in our hotel room, and the way she said it. Ecstatic, lit up, arms already opening. Told me she had been waiting to do this for a minute. I was frozen. I couldn't tell for how many seconds.
Oh, I'm so sorry, baby. I scared you, and I wasn't even thinking. It's just...
I crossed the room and wrapped my arms around her before she could finish the sentence, burying my face in her shoulder. She held me back, tightening her grip as if she knew exactly what I'd just seen, or who I was looking for. When she pulled back, she wiped a stray tear from my cheek.
I remembered you saying you didn't want to be in a new country alone. I told Philippe it would be nice to bring in the new year here too. I didn't even realize he was actually doing it until we were in the air on his jet.
My eyes went wide. His jet. I looked at her. His jet, Miss Lisa. Is he rich? She laughed, full and bright and unashamed.
Baby.
She paused for effect.
He's wealthy.
I giggled and she giggled, and Ari was pulling at both our hands because outside the fireworks were still going and the new year was already here and there was no reason to be inside.
Come on. We're missing it.
The three of us step onto the balcony hand in hand, lifting our faces to the sky without a word. A minute drifts by and my mind wanders to the orchids. The ones that arrived a couple of months ago left as though it had always belonged with me. I had never spoken of it to anyone. Not Tasha, not even Dr. Harris. Would they think I was crazy for connecting Malik to those flowers? For believing, with every instinct I had, that the orchids, the hidden meaning behind the note, the inexplicable thread connecting me to his mother, it was all too perfectly arranged to be coincidence? I can't shake it. The quiet certainty that something is unfolding just beyond the edge of my understanding. Something I keep almost seeing. Miss Lisa. Her name leaves me softly. I don't turn my head all the way, just let my eyes slide to her from the corner of my vision while my gaze stays fixed on the sky.
Hmm?
She doesn't look at me and I don't mind. Her eyes are still lifted, still searching the dark between the bursts of light. When the time is right, I pause, choosing each word carefully, like I'm stepping across stones in deep water. Will I know everything? She doesn't move. She barely blinks. Several seconds pass, long enough that I wonder if she heard me, long enough that I consider taking it back. Then, slowly, she turns her eyes to mine. Her face gives me nothing. Not even a flicker of surprise crosses her face. She squeezes my hand, once, twice, 3 times. Then her grip relaxes, but her fingers stay woven through mine as she quietly whispers.
I think so.
Coming up on part 10.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The verse is, my beloved is mine, and I am his.
You can ask me anything. I won't lie to you.
We should get everything out in the open. No secrets. Do you want to talk about Rick?
I don't need to. But if that's what you need, let's talk about him.
Was there someone else? I can't do it. I can't go.
I am not above begging. Tell me what you need.